The next day, at a mass press conference in a New York hotel, Patterson was not gloating, but he was obviously satisfied.
Well, I had two greatest satisfactions. One was bringing the title back to the United States, and sitting up here today in this press conference, after reading the write-ups this morning, some of the previous write-ups of a week ago and a few days ago of what the experts had to say, and looking at them up here this afternoon in the press conference.
But Patterson would know again what it would be like to have the press downgrade him. March 13, 1961, the place, Miami Beach Convention Hall, the third and final bout against Ingemar Johansson. Patterson the winner, a knockout in the sixth round. But Patterson himself a little bit ashamed. Johansson had decked him twice in the first round, and you could almost sense Patterson's dismay in my interview with him in the ring immediately after the victory. Congratulations, Floyd. You just heard some of the people boo as you were declared the champion again. They were talking about the controversial end of the fight. Did you think Ingo was truly down at the count of 10?
Well, Howie, it's not for me to decide. That's for the referee. And I don't know what Ingemar, how he felt about it, but I would rather not give an opinion.
All right, Floyd, what happened in the first round? He caught you with the rights.
Oh, yes. I didn't think that he would use it so early. He would come right out and throw it, but like I said before, Ingemar is a very, very good fighter. I think the odds of 4-1 were way off because, as you can see, I came very close to losing that fight in the first round and a couple of more times when he caught me with the right.
Was there a time when you actually felt close to the end, or did you keep your strength after the knockdowns?
Well, after the knockdowns, I felt groggy, much more groggy than in the second fight. But like I said before, Ingemar is a very, very good fighter, and I think this fight, he will make the Swedish people proud of him, as well as the Americans, the way he took his stance.
Floyd, the inevitable question, what next? Sonny Liston?
Well, Howie, as of now, Sonny Liston is the #1 contender. And I've always said that if there is another man out there that can really honestly beat me in a fair and square fight, as much as it hurts, I'd rather see him with the title than myself.
Again, Floyd, congratulations. You showed a marvelous fighting heart coming back the way you did. Your mother's in the ring and wants to see you. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
In that same ring, immediately after the talk with Patterson, this talk with his controversial manager, Cus D'Amato. Cus D'Amato, the controversial manager of Floyd Patterson. Cus, was your boy the fighter tonight that you think him to be?
Well, I don't think he performed up to the standard that I had thought him capable of.
What was wrong?
Well, he wasn't punching on the inside for one thing. He didn't have the fire that he usually has.
At the same time, don't you take a great pride in what he did, coming off the floor twice?
There's no question about it. And also, don't forget, Ingemar come off the floor once.
In other words, you're satisfied that Johansson established once and for all that he, too, is a fighter.
That's right, and if you remember, Howard, you of all people should remember that this fighter showed tonight he was just as dangerous as I always said he was. Remember I told you anything could happen in a fight with this man?
That's entirely true. What next? We just talked to Floyd about Sonny Liston. You're his manager. What next?
What was it he said?
Well, I'm not going to tell you. You tell us. What next?
We'll let you know.
You're not committal.
That's right, non-committal.
Off what you saw tonight, the damage Floyd suffered at the hands of Ingo, wouldn't Liston be a terribly dangerous opponent?
Well, I think Liston, it would be a dangerous opponent for anybody. But he's an orthodox opponent, and it would be a great fight. You see plenty of action in that one.
The crowd incidentally applauding for the defeated warrior who showed himself to be just that, a warrior tonight.
And courageous,
That's true, as he leaves the ring. All right, the final quickie for the public. You're a controversial guy. You feud with promoters. Some become cool. True or not true?
Untrue, and no one knows it better than Howard Cosell.
Thank you, Cus. Good luck fighting hard tonight. The 1906 professional football displays baseball as the #1 sport in the hearts of the American sporting fans. Whether or not this is so, certainly one figure, a man who wore number 11, became prominent above all others in the world of sport. His name, Norm van Brocklin. They call him the Dutchman. He was 34 years old during 1960, supposed to be too old to play any longer. Instead, he took the lowly rated Philadelphia Eagles and made them the world's professional football champions. He did it with a glorious victory over the Green Bay Packers. And right after the game, this was the way he described, rather laughingly, the key play.
Well, that last gun, when it went off and they tackled Taylor before he got to the goal line, of course, that was, we were all worried to death. The worst thing to happen in a situation like that is to be on the bench instead of playing.
Actually, Norm, as you review the whole lifetime of football, Oregon, L.A., and then relatively late in the career to come to Philadelphia with a tail-end ball club and transpose it in 2 short years to a championship club, must be the deepest kind of inner gratification, isn't it?
It certainly is, Howard. When I came back here in '58, I was very disappointed that we dropped 9 ball games, and I kind of thought, well, that was the end of the line for me. The next year, of course, we came back and won 7 and 5, and of course, winning the championship. This is it. This is the ultimate in football. I don't think that I could do anything better. As a matter of fact, I'm sure I couldn't help the ball club do it again.
Were you scared when Green Bay took the lead? Did you think inside of yourself, this is it?
No, we knew that we could move the ball on Green Bay going into the ball game, or we thought we could. We knew we could lick them then when they didn't get ahead 14-0. We seemed like we were always giving somebody something. We're the great handicappers.
They've called you a kind of mechanical man in your career, a nerveless guy, a guy who never wilts under pressure. Do you view yourself as such?
Well, it's nice for them to write that. It gets pretty frightening back there sometimes, especially, when you're getting blitzed a lot, and your blocking isn't holding up, and you don't know what to do about it. And pretty soon, if you just stay in there and don't panic, I think people that show signs of adversity or give up when adversity sets in, I think that that's when your ball club goes to pot. And I think that's when a quarterback has to rally a squad, bring them back up again when you fumble or have an interception like we did against Green Bay.
And you are definitely through.
I am definitely through, Howard.
What about the head coaching job?
I don't know anything about it. As I said before, the Eagles haven't talked to me about it. I'd be very happy to talk to them, though. I'm out of work.
Norm van Brocklin wasn't out of work for long. He is the new head coach of the new Minnesota Vikings in the newly expanded National Football League. And now, let's talk about selling for another minute or so. Let's get back to that customer of yours. You remember, he's the man who's just heard the good word about Sansabelt. You've just told him that Sansabelt is about the greatest thing to come down the pike in many a moon. But he's from Missouri, and aren't they all? You've got to show him. So the next step is to pick out a pair of Sansabelt slacks in your customer's size and show him. Point out the unique waistband imported from France. Show him how this patented waistband works. Flex it on the inside, and show him the 2 kinds of give that he gets with Sansabelt. And then tell him the reason for the 2 different kinds of give. One kind of give around the waist, and another kind of give around the hips, so that Sansabelt slacks actually conform to your customer's build. He may have seen Sansabelt slacks on the Jack Parr or Dave Garroway shows, and you can remind him that Sansabelt slacks fit and feel exactly as advertised. Provide amazing comfort. Flatten and flatter the midsection. Remind him that Sansabelt are the slacks that don't slide down, the slacks that keep a man's shirt from riding up. Any questions? Well, it's quite possible that your customer has a few. For instance, he might ask about that inner waistband and how it dry cleans. The answer to that? It dry cleans just great. In fact, it's been fully tested and approved by the National Institute of Dry Cleaning. Another question that has come up in retail stores concerns Sansabelt wearability. Just how much give and take does it have? The answer? All the give and take your customer wants. Every Sansabelt waistband is manufactured to outlast the long, long life of the slacks. because Sansabelt slacks are manufactured by the reliable Jaymar Ruby people. Still another question that comes up concerns the business of altering Sansabelt. What if I lose or gain some weight around the waist, customers have asked. Well, Sansabelt is especially suited to the man who plans to lose a little around his waist. Automatically conforms to his build. That's true even if your customer accidentally adds an inch or so. Well, that's typical of the kinds of questions you get with Sansabelt and the kinds of answers you can give. But no matter what the question, there's one answer that always sells them, the best convincer of all. I'll give it to you in just a few minutes after some more of my favorite Speaking of Sports collector's items. Now moving back to our collection of interviews. The difference between an authentic professional in sport as against one who has yet to attain that status lies not so much in their abilities as in their attitudes and self-discipline. Eddie Arcaro, for instance, the greatest jockey of them all, has the same tensions, but Arcaro can control them. He can make those tensions work for him, as you will deduce from this revealing insight.
How about the tension before a race, Eddie? Is that the same as it used to be when you were in your...
Might be a little more.
Well, how do you account for that?
Probably my age. I'm not getting any younger, Howard.
Well, you talk about your age, and you've been forthright to do so, Eddie. Actually, when do you plan to quit racing?
Oh, I have no plans on quitting.
You've never given it any thought at all?
No, I think that'll all take care of itself.
Mm-hmm. Is there any single objective or goal you still personally have in racing?
No, excepting that it's my living, and I've been doing it all my life, and I wouldn't know what to do if I quit riding.
Eddie, were you ever at any time in your career afraid?
No, I've had days. I mean, after a bad spill, and I think that goes with anybody. For a day or two, you're a little scared, as we call scared of the cars, but you shake that off.
Well, everybody knows you as the golden boy jockey of racing, Eddie. You've been our greatest rider in our current generation. But was there ever a time when you had any self-doubt, when you thought maybe you were losing your grip as the top jockey?
Oh, you have. I have. That enters my mind quite a few times, and has in the last 10 years, I would say. At different times you get where you don't think you're operating as good as you should, and it's always there.
Even if an athlete is a veteran professional, as in the case of Eddie Arcaro, he is, above all, human, which means that he is capable of bitterness against thoughtless people. In 1959, the outstanding pitcher in all of baseball was Early Wynn of the Chicago White Sox. In 1960, Wynn, at 40 years of age, was struggling, and the fans didn't make things any easier for him. Listen to Early Wynn.
I've been taking a lot of jeers and stuff from the bleachers and so forth. People been giving me a pretty rough time about why I don't retire and all this and that. Why don't I quit? I'm through. And, those idiots don't even look at the strikeout record. I'm about third in the strikeouts in the league today, and I won 10 games. I don't think it's too bad. There's a lot of guys 23, 25 years old that don't have 10 games today, and I think it should be a credit to me to be playing at 40 instead of, being a discredit to me. And, in fact, I'm rather proud to be here, Howard, to tell you the truth. I'm tickled to death to be in the league at 40 and won as many games as I have, and to be as fortunate as I have been.
Now it's time to go back to the store and wait on the trade. Remember, you've got a customer just about sold on Sansabelt slacks. You've shown him the patented waistband and how it works. Told him why Sansabelt gives him more comfort, better fit. And now you're ready to convince him because he's ready to try on a pair of Sansabelt slacks. And let me tell you, once he tries Sansabelt, he buys Sansabelt. He'll see for himself how trim he looks in the truly beltless slacks that eliminate any reason at all for belts, buckles, buttons, or bulges around the waist. He'll see that flatter midsection and feel that flexible comfort of Sansabelt. And once one of your customers wears a pair of Sansabelt slacks, he'll want to keep on wearing them. You've got yourself a satisfied customer who will return to you again and again, and probably bring his friends along. So that's the story of Sansabelt. You can sell Sansabelt with complete confidence. You can demonstrate Sansabelt with complete confidence. And you can have confidence in the fact that once a customer tries Sansabelt, he buys Sansabelt. And he'll have the kind of confidence in you that will help you ring up a lot more profitable sales for a long time to come. And if you're anything like I am, you won't believe a word I've said until you try on a pair of Sansabelt slacks yourself. But once you do, I'm sure that you'll believe as I do, that Sansabelt is the best idea in slacks since the zipper. After that, selling Sansabelt is a breeze. All you've got to do is pass the good word along. Now, before we hear our final interview, we certainly hope you've enjoyed listening to a few of the people in sports who have been good enough to appear with us on our show. And that is one of the few people in the country who has this collector's item. You will find further enjoyment in playing it again and again for your friends. You know, we're going to add our voice on Speaking of Sports, along with so many others, in an effort to make this next season the best in sales for Jaymar Sansabelt slacks and YMM Sansabelt slacks. Why not listen to Speaking of Sports each day on your local ABC radio station and meet some more exciting people who make sports news every day? And remember, you get them to try Sansabelt, you'll get them to buy Sansabelt. Now on to our final interview. One of the most nostalgic moments in the history of American sport. Ebbets Field, Brooklyn was more than a ballpark. It was the home of the original Daffiness Boys, a place where the fans were part of the game, a field that became the synonym for baseball in America, even in Europe for that matter. Mickey Owen dropped a third strike there. Cookie Lavagetto broke up a no-hit World Series game there with 2 out in the bottom half of the 9th inning. Pete Reeser forced them to build rubber foam cushions into the outfield walls. And to ensure its position in the history books, Ebbets Field was where the Jackie Robinson story was written. In February 1960, they began to tear it down. And on the pitching mound that day stood a doty little former Dodger pitcher, one who had hurled 2 no-hit games, set an all-time record for strikeouts in a World Series game. His name is Carl Erskine, but he wasn't pitching that day. Instead, he was saying this.
Ebbets Field had a tradition and will always have this tradition, even though physically it doesn't exist anymore, or will not after they finish tearing it down. The people who came here and saw games here and the players who played, this is a memory that they will have that millions of others who've just known of Ebbets Field can only guess what it was like. So I'm glad that my career took place in this ballpark because traditionally, all the years to come in baseball, Ebbets Field will still find its place and be there.
In other words, it's physically gone, but not gone really.
No, it'll never really go as long as they play baseball in this country because too many things happen in this ballpark that are typical of baseball everywhere and of baseball fans everywhere. So this will be a shrine that will be reserved for the people who actually played here and lived here and saw games here in their own memories, and to all those other millions who didn't, they'll always wonder what it was really like to have been at Ebbets Field on a hot afternoon when the Dodgers were playing the Giants.
And with such a moment in American sport, we conclude this special group of interviews. This is Howard Cosell wishing you much Sansabelt success in the future.